that actually has fuel, though we are having information that some of the petrol stations have been served this day. And this information or press release that was signed by the Minister of Energy, which reads, the Minister of Water Resources and Energy, Gaston Elundu Isumba, hereby informs the public that there has been a disruption in the supply of premium gasoline super in the country's main cities over the past few days. In particular, Yaoundé, Douala and Bafoussam. This disruption is mainly due to a delay in the arrival of 3 vessels transporting the said products caused by unfavorable weather and sea conditions, which interrupted the ship-to-ship loading of these vessels for 4 days at the airport at Lomé. Currently, one of the ships is already docked in Douala with 13,000 meters cube of super. Arrangements have also been made with the Cameroon Petroleum Depot Company (SCDP) for the immediate loading of 81 tanker trucks throughout the nights of Sunday, December 10, until Monday, the 11th of December 2023, to reinforce transfers. At the same time, rail cars will be loaded to boost stocks. It is expected that supplies will return to normal operation on Tuesday, 12th of December. The Minister of Water and Energy assures the population that 2 other vessels containing super will arrive this week. The Minister further reassures consumers that the country will be adequately supplied throughout the end of year festive periods. He urges them to be patient and thanks them for their understanding. Signed by the Minister of Water Resources and
in Limbe. So about 25% of the oil used in Cameroon is what is coming out from Sonara. And what are those other areas where 75% of that oil is coming? One of it, you get it, that one of the refinery from Togo, which is Lomé, and that which comes back to the management of oil in Africa, which means that the Sonara that was created to harness the energy sector of petroleum was equally a French corporation and a French makeup, and that since there exist such companies in Abidjan, I mean somewhere in Ivory Coast, and again another one in Morocco, and that Cameroon will not be enough to host a complete finished product oil production company like this Sonara. Sonara, again, after the incident that occurred and devastated up to about 51% of the facility. Up to date, Sonara becomes a vegetable company in that it could not still attain the 25% that was made to feed the economy. These are some of the worries. And why do Cameroonians always go in for perishable solutions in every situation in Cameroon? Who is responsible? The government or those who are in charge with the management of such products? But then, uneasy lies the heads that bears the crown, which means that somewhere government has a better hand to say all of this should end, and that the oil refinery in Limbe should be given a full-fledged production capacity, which means if there's a need for update in technology and production systems, why not procure such systems so that tomorrow Cameroon should not see themselves depending more again on foreign imported oil? Is it possible that you produce oil and export crude oil, then import semi-finished oil for your own company? Why not just produce and finish the production and consume it at home? It is really, really sad.
Okay, we also in the company of Ndiwum Emmanuel, who is a member of Cameroon's civil society and regular panelist on Prime. Good evening, to be updating us live in our studios on some of the resolutions taken at the level of their party. But I start with you. And Ndifor, I may start the program with you. How is the situation, the fuel supply situation in Aboya? Or you are just getting information from this part of the nation on what we are living?
Yeah, Leonard, I think we have not really started feeling the pinch of it, probably because of the roadside fuel that we have around here. But I think I've not had any problem with getting fuel. I've not to the station twice, and I've not had any difficulty getting fuel. probably we are still to feel the pinch of that. But I've been observing the situation in Douala, and it's really sad that people are not able to have fuel in Douala.
Okay, we thank God for you guys that the roadside vendors, what they usually call funge and zwazwa. Ndifor, can we now describe the situation like the stone, the rejected stone that is now becoming the cornerstone? Because we are even looking for the funge here in Douala, not seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. And recently I realized that funge itself is even more expensive than the fuel at the petrol station, because at the petrol station, I think fuel is about 7,250 or something like that. But funge is sold at 7,500 francs. So funge is becoming even more expensive. And one funny thing too with Boya is that many petrol stations have closed for a long time, even before right now. You go to many petrol stations, they are not functional. You have to move for people like us who live right on this way around Bonduma. We need to go right down to Moliko, to Total, before we can get fuel. So basically, there are only two petrol stations that are functional or regularly functional, and I think it's Tradex and Total. The rest of them, each time you go there, either they're not having fuel or they're just closed. So before now, we have already been used to this idea of getting the roadside fuel, because if you are short of fuel, you will not want to leave right from Clark's Quarter to go down to Total to get fuel. So sometimes people just stop by the roadsides to get the roadside fuel. It's not the best fuel. It's not well filtered though, but that seems to be the option for now.
Okay, that seems to be the best option for now. Dr. Ako, the minister says that it is because of some weather conditions which are not man-made, and did we fail in foreseeing this from some quarters?
It's not like we failed to foresee it.
Or you stand on the fact that by now Sonara was supposed to have been upgraded to be able to refine the heavy crude, because what we have in Cameroon is heavy crude.
Good. Mm-hmm. So one of the things which I'm saying is the reasons given by the government are not new, and this is not the first time Cameroon government has noticed, or the Cameroon people are noticing, a scarcity in fuel, and the same reasons have always been given. That the ship that was supposed to dock on Douala port was delayed, maybe off the coast of Mexico or that of Mozambique. We don't know. But today, if we had realized this, which is not the first time, what has the authorities been doing? And we knew very well that the Sonara facility in Cameroon today, and that the need for oil has equally improved, so that we can improve on the facility. Yes, some time ago, around 2015, I knew there had been an action in Sonara to expand his capacity. But that particular initiative was thwarted or delayed by the failure or the incident that happened within that same system. But it is over 4 or 5 years now. What have we done? Is it that we don't know how to guarantee security, or we are not aware of guaranteeing the supply chain so that there should be no lack in the market? That will equally come us somewhere to understand that when we find what they call the roadside vendor, what we call funge, and the reasons or the demons given against this particular brand of petrol, is it that also the government is failing to understand that the facilities in the country cannot really supply oil? Can we regulate the sector of those who are selling funge, so that anybody selling funge should be registered and equally pay taxes to the government? If the companies that are in charge of the distribution of oil are presently having problems because their oil must come from abroad, Nigeria is just nearby. I remember Aliko Dangote in last few months or so inaugurated the greatest and the biggest oil refinery in the whole of Africa. Is there a need for Cameroon to get into partnership with Nigeria? We don't need to know where the oil is coming from. But what we call Funge today, people have started to believe that it was not what we call siphon oil or stolen oil or oil that was not well refined. People know now that some in Douala Yaoundé have already been given.
Mr. Leo, my feeling is a very bad one, given the fact that this thing, you know, every rumor in Cameroon ends up as a reality. This thing was rumored some 3 weeks ago, when we heard that in Yaoundé, petrol stations were dry, and that cars, fleets of cars, were lining up because there was no way to get fuel. Unfortunately, it has hit Douala. Yesterday morning, I had to assist in a situation where I met the policemen. They were the ones controlling how bike riders and taxi drivers consume petrol in a petrol station. And it sent me back to a quiet corner to start thinking. I want to cue from something Dr. Ako said a while ago. Doc, one thing you might not have noticed is that Funge has been formalized in Southwest. I was recently in Southwest in Idina when I questioned a uniform officer why he was consuming Funge, whereas they are the ones sent to go after the same vendors. This is what he told me, that few months ago, the governor, this is what we were told, the governor of Electoral formalized it, of Southwest, pardon, formalized it. So in Southwest, if I see them consuming, it means that they cannot go after anybody. And I buy the idea of Doc when he says there was a need for it to be formalized across the nation.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There are issues like that when they are formalized. They should be formalized.
No, it is written. Find out. I was told even by those who are selling it that this time they pay taxes. In those days they were not paying taxes. I'll find out. My problem was why should it be formalized in one region and not formalized in another region?
I'll do findings. I'll do findings to confirm this. We should not give out information that may not be true.
Good enough. You have what it takes to do the finding.
I'll do that.
So coming back to the very problem, you know how people have been sent on structural unemployment, others have been sent on permanent unemployment. Even the expertise that used to exist there, some people have deserted the area for their own safety, and we cannot pretend to think that the war has not been having a great impact. This is just one of the highest impacts that the war has brought to Cameroon. Because if Sonara was able to produce 25%, and today they are not even able to produce up to 10%, then I want to think Cameroon is even blessed. Cameroon is even blessed to have been having supply of oil or petrol till now. I thought the scarcity was supposed to come earlier than today. But to think that we are known somewhere as one of the countries that produces oil, and yet we are lacking oil, then there is a problem.
Yeah, but when you say the war has an impact on it, how does the war impact?
No, Sonara. Is Sonara functioning today as it was functioning before 2016?
Yeah, but
before 2000, no, before 2016, 2017. Tell me a year you ever witnessed scarcity of fuel, Mr. Leo.
I'm sure we have had this previously.
No, previously not between 2016.
I'm sure we have had serious fuel issues before now. You remember that 2008.
Let me learn now, Mr. Leo. Yeah. Since we are dealing with people who do not foresee what you are reading there as a communique, tomorrow is not far. Until I go to the petrol station tomorrow and I'm able to consume without being supervised by a policeman, I will not believe the minister. Because most of them are not even experts in the domain.
Yeah, the ministers.
We always say, before, because we know the kangaroo store we have. They can get up one morning and tell you that, all right, and they are convening an election, even when it's not following the calendar, you know. We've understood that the system of law no longer functions when it concerns some government personnel. When it concerns a low person in the society, that's when you see them quoting laws and applying laws. And so they are very good at bypassing those laws when it works to their interest too. The resolution is that CRM is ready for any election, anytime, anywhere called in Cameroon. And one of the other resolutions which we equally took is that we will work closely with the other coalition members. I will tell you that I saw many people castigating the move on social media. Why is it that this has not been done? You know, things operate depending on an agreement with coalition parties. Now, this is first in the history of mankind that coalition members put forth a candidate before the time. And why did we do so? Because before then, that issue, they used to hold coalition at the background. They begin to brainstorm on who is to be member. When it comes to the period, you know, the regime passes behind and punctures it by either looking any lightweight inside and start disturbing the whole process. We've seen that failed in the previous elections, where before coming they said there's a problem of knowing who is a leader. So, but then the coalition members just made it clear. And this thing started not today, it's more than a year ago that I'm working on that. All the Madam Damjoya, the rest of them, Billboard Magari and a host of others. Well, the issue is very clear that Professor Maurice Kamto is the head of that coalition. They all agreed unanimously, was not imposed on anybody. And so it means that, what are they doing? They are saying that they are choosing someone as per the resolutions whom they think cannot be corrupted at the dying minute. Because people give various versions. You know, Professor Maurice Kamto 2 million, that's why it's not for last election, all the line. But the coalition members who have sat, investigated and realized that it did not happen like that, think that for them, that is it. So those are some of the few regulations that
when I get you now, is it the CRM that is deciding that Professor Maurice Kamto, who is a newly re-elected president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, is going to be the flag bearer of a possible coalition, or it is coalition members? When was that? When did that meeting hold?
That is good. Coalition members had decided before, and when they decided, it was left. We know, as I'm saying, one thing is for sure. If you cannot make use of somebody, then somebody else can make use of that person. It's like if you have your wife who's cooking food to you, cooking food in the house, washing the baby and everything. You get there one morning and you become funny, and she divorces you. When somebody picks her up, the day you see her on the street, you will say that you start regretting. So we are able to get the president of the FCC, that is Honorable Ninche, who clearly and in clear terms, not in hidden, in clear terms, declared clean and clear that Professor Maurice Kamto is the only leader so far now who can stand the challenge of Bia's regime. And therefore, given his entire weight with his party members, including Robert Wafo, that's the former mayor of deputy mayor of Douala 2 rather, and a host of others. That one is that one. We equally have UDC was only quite up as it was invited, and UDC spoke quite very okay and being satisfied with the coalition. And UDC, Madam Jaya, was one who clearly announced that the president of that coalition is Professor Maurice Kamto, whom they stand by him. All right. We had Professor Ekoso, President Ekoso, who equally was very much present, and he made his own very clear. We had PAP of Mr. Ndang Dennis, who equally gave all the weight and the support that we also need. And apart from that, we know that Bello Boba Maigari was invited, equally marked present. And Bello Boba Maigari, in his speech, clearly said that he will be happy to see a change in the country. And that explains why he decided to honor this invitation. Well, at his stand, whether he's a member of the coalition party or whether he's a member of the coalition has not been made very clear. But he was very positive about all what is transpiring. So if you look at the persons that came in and all what they said, and it tells you that... I saw the president of Univer. Univer, yes, Dr. Kum Leonard. Did he say... For sure, Dr. Kum Leonard was quite very categorical and clean and clear in everything. But you see, all what they said coming together is the fact that they said the coalition is very, very necessary to unseat the regime in a 2D. So that is what was revolving around all what they present. So I think it was quite an interesting one because, you know, the issue now of who will be, which used to be kept in the dark, and always surfaces at the nick of time, has now been trashed. So anybody now who thinks that you can corrupt a coalition member, oh, it is really late. If you can break through the defense mechanism of the coalition of Professor Maurice Kamto, then it means that you are a man, which I have not seen any war, any bomb, Hiroshima bomb that can break through that particular coalition. So the bell is ringing, and we are heading towards the change, as we say. It's not long from now. We'll come back to the very platform and announce the change visible.
Okay. Dr. Ako, you have read, you've listened to him. Give us at least some insights as far as what took place, transpired in Yaoundé. And you raised the alarm bell in our forum. I'm sure that was 2 days ago, about the need for a coalition, a good start. You see this prospering?
Yeah, Leonard, it's for the first time. I believe equally that the information given to us by Mr. Fah is honest and sincere, or maybe have some audacity in it. Sometime I have said Cameroonians need change, and that the same errors we have been committing is coming on few days to the election. Remember the last coalition, we don't want to mention. It was about 5 days to election that somebody said, I will be with this person. So if now we're in 2024, 2023, few days to 2024, and the MRC party is telling us that they are going to have this work upon in the next 1 year, that coalition members to unseat President Paul Biya. Sometime I said here that change should not even be thinking or thought of coming out of Cameroon. Change should not only come out of Cameroonians, not out of government. The change we need can still be the change within the CPDM party. The change we need can come from other opposition party. What are we doing that we are not doing right? Cameroonians need to think, if the opposition in Cameroon ready and capable to grab power, if we are not, the signs are clear. The opposition coalition, I don't know whether now they are called a minority coalition or they are vying for a majority coalition, which means somewhere the doors should not be closed. The doors should not be closed. And can you imagine a coalition between MRC and SDF as a partner? Can we even imagine that? Just see it. That the members stress, those represented at the National Assembly, to be the founders of that coalition, and MRC as a leader. Sometimes I said Cameroonians should keep their ego, self-pride, if they need to serve the nation. Serving a nation is not an individual aspect, it's a general interest. It's a general cause. A general cause must not come from one of the most beautiful pots or ditches. It can still come from a waste bin that we have decided to represent us. People should keep that. I have been the elders, I have the majority, I have the overwhelmed. Remember what makes Joseph become the great personality. Remember what happened to David. Look the story of those people. You will imagine that they were not the greatest when they became great. So if we can keep self-pride, let's see that change is necessary. But that change must come from us Cameroonians. Some have been feeling, oh, this one is eating with this one is not eating here. Yes, change must come from within. If everything is given to change, people don't even know what change is. I ask people that, yes, within the CPDM, can't you give us a new candidate? Cameroonians will be willing to see that a new candidate for the next election. We should stop this issue of popular call, l'appel des peuples. We should stop this thing. Let the ruling party equally come out with a convention that will ignite a new spirit within the leadership. It is but true that for about 34 or 35 years, the party too is suffering from what I call internal political tension. The party itself is into pieces. And people are thinking that what happened to the CNU in 1982 might equally happen with the CPDM in the absence of its leaders. Can we see what happened in Angola? And that the sitting president gave way for another new leader within the same party. And that same president is still alive to see how the party is still carrying on the activities. Angola is no longer the same, if you want to check the stories. And within it, others will be thinking that the French experience of handpicking, and so Moise Kamto has a better seat because he has been discussing with Emmanuel Macron, and that he is equal with Moretti, the justice minister. They will do it good. So Africans and Cameroonians, 60 years after independence, are still depending on a leader that has been picked and dictated by foreign parties. It is categorical no. Cameroonians need somebody who will answer for Cameroonians. A coalition of this nature should not just have that you must be the most intelligent person. You must not be the professor or the doctor, or I can't call the giant of politics. It can be a rejected person from another minor party that can lead a coalition. So let's try to get it. A lot have foreign nationality. For who are they working for? Is it for themselves or to save the nation of Cameroon? But I think this particular move, we need to applaud it. And that's what I said sometime in the forum, that I don't care where the change is coming from. But if change is being brought by Cameroonian, there are steps to appreciate it. Having a coalition now, why not in January? SDF should announce going for the same coalition. Mr. Leo, we are going to witness a different atmosphere.
Ndifor, Richard, you are following the program from Boya. We're talking about a coalition, and he has announced the pronouncement of the president of the UDC and Prince Ekoso of the USDP, and Mr. Njangtabe Dennis of PAP and APF also. That was represented by Sambaka, though we are also expecting to see an official statement of members of this coalition, and also Nietzsche, and who just left the Social Democratic Front. But would it not be far better if we had the likes of the Social Democratic Front and that of Kabalibi?
Yes, Leonard, it is interesting when I listen to Fah talking about coalition. First of all, I heard Dr. Ako say he really wished that the SDF should join such a coalition. Let me be emphatic. Let me be very, very clear here to say that the SDF is very, very open for a coalition. During our convention, we have a series of political parties who were present at our convention, and in that convention, they all expressed their willingness to work in collaboration with the SDF in any coalition that will come in place. We saw Cabral Bibi, we saw a number of political parties that were there, and even including, most interestingly, including the Workers' Trade Union, who were there and they were ready to be part of any coalition that will be called up. We are surprised that we are hearing about a certain coalition. The SDF was never invited to any meeting to discuss any kind of coalition whatsoever. As a matter of fact, during our convention, we invited Professor Maurice Kamto, who lives in Yaoundé. He snubbed the convention and sent his regional, the regional bureau head of the MRC, who came there, and we gave him the microphone, who expressed his party's willingness to work with the SDF. Surprisingly, Leonard, during the MRC convention, we also decided to send the regional, our regional chairperson of the SDF, who went there, and unfortunately, he was not allowed to talk at the MRC convention for reasons we cannot understand. I don't want to get into all those politics, but I want to say that a coalition, as we have seen in other countries, is something that is a negotiation that is worked out with other political parties, and it is an all-inclusive process. If you are starting a coalition, you have to bring everybody on board. It is better that you invite people on board and they turn down the invitation than to sideline certain political parties and choose handpicked a few political parties and say you're meeting with them and other the coalition. So I just want to make this point very clear before the wrong message go out there that the SDF refused to join a certain coalition, just to say that the SDF is not aware of anything. We started hearing about coalition during this convention of the MRC. As a matter of fact, the SDF has been working with other political, has been negotiating and working with other political parties. I'm hoping that in the nearest future, opposition parties were going to sit down and have a conversation as how a coalition was going to work moving forward. To just sit and then you see people call their convention, and then in their convention they announce a coalition. That is clear that they do not want you to be part of it. And to make matters worse, your representative in their convention is refused not to present his speech at the convention. I was listening very carefully to hear whether Fah would tell us that the SDF was invited and they did not come, or that the SDF was there, and what did they say concretely during the convention, during their convention. The regional chairperson was there, and unfortunately the goodwill message that the party sent him with to present during that convention, he was unable to deliver it because they refused to give him the floor to present his message. So I want to make this point very clear so that it goes out there. Like I said, we are very ready, we are very open, we are willing for a coalition, a broad-based coalition, an all-inclusive coalition, and that even includes those who say they are a member of what they call the wine, part of the government, so to speak. I'm talking about Bello Buba, even the Isachi Ruma and the rest. Those are all opposition parties. I think if they are in government, it is because perhaps the CPDM offered them something juicy enough to convince them to be there. And I think that if the opposition sit down and work out a very good program and include them and let them see what they stand to benefit if they were to join a coalition of the opposition party, that would be great. We have over 400 political parties, or close to 400 political parties in Cameroon. We are not saying all 400 political parties can accept to come, but if they accept, if all the 400 political parties, with the exception of the CPDM, can accept to come in a coalition, what is wrong with that? That would be great news for the opposition. And so we cannot start a coalition by sidelining some group of people, sidelining some political parties, handpicked a few others. And just to make this point, Leonard, I don't want to talk with any degree of authority, but I listened to the speeches of those opposition leaders who were present at the NRC convention. And what they presented was not very much different from what they presented during the SDF convention. And I think what they presented, I listened to the president of PAC very well. I didn't hear him talk about an already established coalition. I heard him talking about a call for coalition. I heard him reiterating the fact that they are inviting people that are willing and they're a coalition. I also listened to Ndamjoya's the current chairperson of the CDU, and I could say that from her presentation, she did not establish with any degree of certainty that there was already a coalition. She was barely calling the coalition. And this idea of there is already a coalition, I do not know. Maybe they know better. Like I said, the SDF was never invited. We have never been part of any meeting.
Okay, Mr. Ndifor, we're coming back to you. Yes, but we saw the coalition that brought Buhari to power, Ndiwum, Emmanuel. That was a coalition that was formed 2 years to elections. How do you think opposition parties should behave? What are the steps that they should take? What spirit should guide each party so that they can sit together and start preparing Cameroonians towards 2025?
Mr. Leo, Cameroon is sick, and those pretending to cure Cameroon are sicker than the sickness that Cameroon is having. From the example you are giving there, it is nowhere nearer to what we expected to have seen from our political parties today. I know some of them will come after me to say, if I have to talk, let me join a political party. I am not obliged to, but I'm obliged to observe, and I must make these observations, and I will make them very clear. You see, when I listen to Ndifor Richard speak, he remains on the high horse of the SDF. From his language, it is very clear that SDF is at no point ready to go closer to a coalition. But before I get to answer your question,
I'm not sure we listen to Ndifor the same. He says the SDF is open for.
I am telling you that he's playing with words. He's playing with words, and we are used to words. I want to first of all congratulate the CRM for pulling a crowd. We have seen in this county where some rallies, university students were paid to attend, to mass up the event. This was not the case, but we saw what happened in Yaoundé. congratulations to CRM. I have my problems and my differences with CRM, but when it is good, let's appreciate. Of course, I was personally invited for that convention. If I did not answer present, it was because it coincided with something. But I am saying that you have given a platform, Mr. Kum Leonard, since 2018. Everybody can testify. You have given a platform for every political party on this My Media Prime Forum to chart a way forward for Cameroonians. And you have been preaching, both in and out, for the need for them to reunite and speak with one voice. The CPDM is like an elephant. For you to catch it, even the blind, the deaf, the lame needs to have a hand placed on one part of that elephant. And this can only work out with a coalition. Unfortunately, we are seeing, and we are getting it even tonight, that coalition will not be possible. But, like you asked the question, linking to Buhari, 2 years to the elections in Nigeria, Buhari and the rest made it possible to sit on the same table, iron out the differences, and made a coalition that eventually took him to power. He became the president, and today he's well respected. What is stopping Cameroonians from getting into a coalition is because they are not doing the politics for the interest of the nation. Everybody is going out for a one-man show. They want to be called head of a party. That is what has killed this nation. Is it not time for us to drift from heads of party to become leaders of parties? Because when it comes to leaders of a party, there are certain characteristics, certain attributes, certain qualities that the population will have to judge, evaluate. But then, since everybody wants to remain head of a party, they fear that if I go into a coalition, I will not emerge as the president. Is what has been killing the political landscape in Cameroon. First, what Cameroonians want now, Mr. Ndifor, is not history telling. It is who can solve the numerous problems that the regime in place has put on Cameroonians. We are talking about fuel scarcity. We are talking about war in Norwest. Which politician has come out now with a practical route map that this is what, if I'm voted into power, I will do to stop the war in Norway and Southwest? Nobody. They only come singing of how I want to be head of a party, I want to be leader of a party. Then Cameroonians' problems are quietly silent. Okay. This is what we call politics of the stomach and not politics of the nation. But do you understand in the first worry that when during their convention,
Mr.
Leo, I don't want to go into that polemics. If he's saying that,
no, you are the one instead of answering my questions, you are talking about Ndifor.
No,
I asked a question, you are talking about Ndifor. So
if we were to go that way, us of the civil society, SDF never invited us. They never invited us, of which we can equally give them an advice.
No, but he says the trade unions were there.
No, I am saying that.
He did not invite you as
now when I say CRM invited me, they will say maybe I'm closer to them. I am saying that to solve the political problems of Cameroon, we need a holistic approach. Everybody must be on board. Even the religious leaders have to be factored in. At this point in time where we see Cameroon is bedridden. And to take Cameroon out of that bedriddenness, everybody's hand must be on deck. One person cannot solve the problem of Cameroon.
Okay.
As we speak now, there is no independent politician in Cameroon who can win CPDM and its maneuvers.
Okay.
And I think what we saw in Yaoundé is a beginning of a positive move, because for a politician so much criticized and condemned like Maurice Kamto to have pulled such a crowd, it has not been seen in Cameroon for a very long while. I think it's the beginning of good things, and every genuine Cameroonian who has Cameroon at heart should go in for that coalition without waiting for 2020.
Since you are there, you were indexed directly by, your party was indexed directly by Ndifor. The essence of this program is to see how to bring everybody.
You. Now, when they were having their convention, I want to tell you, Professor Maurice Kamto was in France. Maybe he should find out. He has been making quite a handful of journeys. Why? Because he was busy traveling to make sure that he gets the diaspora present in the convention in which they were finally present. Now, I am sure that when they saw the regional chair to them, it was like Professor Maurice Kamto undermined them. I'm sure that's the notion they have. Now, you now realize that if the regional, if a regional head in Yaoundé went for their convention, I was given probably the floor to talk, and they asked him, I'm still telling you this is politics. I don't think that under normal conditions, things transpire normally, and somebody who is a party representing was not given the room. Because the room for parties that represented us to talk was not only members of the coalition. Now, if you look at his statement, the so-called coalition, if you look at his statement tells you that there is a coalition, there is a, you know, this is English language I'm talking about, the analysis. If you look at his tongue, tells you that that statement tells you that the coalition was their own. Maybe they are thinking of doing theirs. But as I said, the issue of ego is what kills them. I don't want to get into that.
Was the SDF invited?
SDF was invited
for the coalition meetings?
No, I don't know about the coalition meeting, that for convention. No, what I'm concerned here, Mr. Leo.
No, we are getting that before the convention. Meetings for a coalition.
Excellent, Mr. Leo.
Have been going on.
That's what I'm saying here. Not so. Coalition meetings are technical meetings. Let me be straight with you.
Anyway, we should also note that to do a coalition, not everybody.
Not everybody. Now, why do I say so, Mr. Leo? The fact that coalitions have failed and CRM getting into it with the determination not to fail, did not want to take chances. You can be my friend and have not called you. Maybe because your character is doubtful. I say, hold on first. There could be a position I want Dr. Aku to come in, but I want it to be right first. Everybody has a stage. This is how they call political planning. And you cannot voice this out in public because there are reasons. So if somebody was not called at a point in time, if the person behaves well, but when the person is misbehaving, I don't want to say that, for Mr. Leo, this behavior, I don't want to assume as the behavior of SDF, because I know SDF party as a gentle party. I could say the behavior as an individual. That speaks volume of his dissatisfaction on the so-called coalition. But I think that anybody is on board. Dr. Ako said something, and we said it clean and clear in the convention. The coalition is still coming. There could be key figures at the front, but it doesn't mean that the door has been locked.
There was a coalition. The CRM went for the last election as a coalition.
Obviously, you're right. It was a coalition which no is equally failed, and you had. I can tell you what went through.
You had the coalition. You had the likes of.
Akemita was inside.
He joined. Yes.
Yeah.
Almost all the guys joined.
So you now realize that conclusively, I want to make people understand that parties that are there, please, if you were not called in the coalition, doesn't mean that it has ended. Because it is a process. This is a process.
It's a beginning.
It's the beginning even. So if you start clarifying and say we only have a so-called coalition, all right, it means that there is already a point somewhere. And I want to advise that SDF militants
sites and then say that this is civil society organization. Ndiwum, let me say it to the world, is an pro-MRC 100% and should be bold enough to say it. You should not be scared. When you are a member of a political party, be proud. I am proud SDF. Any other person too, whether it's a CPDM, is proud CPDM. So when you come on the studio, stop hiding. Say who you are. Don't go and be hiding. Then he said that, he claimed that in my convention, we brought university students. I don't even want to answer that because that is so frivolous and so mean for him to say in a public place like this. The next thing that he tried to turn around to put is that there is arrogance in the SDF and there is pride in the SDF. I want to ask any right-thinking Cameroonian who is watching us right now, how do you go for a meeting for a coalition in this Cameroon that we know? You call a meeting, the coalition, call some particular party, and then ignore, leave some aside. And then those ones that you keep them aside, you expect that when you come to your convention and unilaterally declare yourself as the candidate of the coalition, then the SDF come behind you, clapping behind you, and just join you. What arrogance! What arrogance! Doesn't Ndiwum listen to himself? Does he even listen to what he's talking about? It's funny. A coalition is a negotiation. It's a process. It's a negotiation. If the MRC genuinely wanted a coalition, genuinely, I repeat, they will invite stakeholders. including political parties. And I don't see anybody talking about calling a meeting of opposition party in Cameroon and do not call the SDF. Even if they say the SDF is dead, nobody will call a meeting of opposition parties in Cameroon without calling the SDF in such a meeting. What are we talking about? Are we talking to children here? We are talking, this is something that it is very evident, very clear. They did not want SDF to be part of this. They didn't want them. And the kind of answer that my brother Fah is trying to give there for why an SDF representative will come into a convention and be denied the opportunity to talk, and then he say there must be a reason. What reason? What justification can you give that all other political parties who were present were given the opportunity to talk, and the SDF was refused, were denied that opportunity to talk? And then you said there was a reason. What reason? We have seen this, and don't just permit me to say that this is a accumulation of activities that has been happening. This is not something that just happened overnight. First of all, when the chairman died on the same day, the chairman was laid in state in Yaoundé. Professor Maurice Kamto was in Yaoundé. He didn't attend the chairman's funeral. Right, instead, he went and organized a press conference on the same day while we were at the mortuary trying to take up the corpse of the chairman. Professor Maurice Kamto was holding a press conference. These are facts that people should know, and know the kind of people we are dealing with in Cameroon. We should not be pretending. We should not be pretending.
Yes,
that is just an instance to tell you how much he is not even willing to work with the opposition.
Ndifor, yeah,
yes,
yeah, but the coalition, it starts from somewhere. Why can we not see that this is the beginning of a step? Maybe the strategy was not to start with everybody. We start with maybe 3-4 parties and get others to join.
No, it doesn't work that way, Leonard. It doesn't work that way. You have followed up how coalition was built in other countries. I am telling you that it doesn't work that way. Even if they were initially supposed to call some political parties in the initial meeting, I believe that the very first political party that will be invited in such a meeting will be the SDF. I'm not saying this because I'm an SDF militant. Even just an observer in Cameroon politics will know that anybody who genuinely wants to call a coalition will not do so without inviting the SDF to the table. I am not saying that the SDF should come and lead the coalition as Ndiwum is claiming. We are not interested in leading the coalition. We are just interested in the process being followed in a way that is inclusive, is broad-based, and not that is how it goes.
Thank you.
You don't begin by sidelining one of the major opposition parties in Cameroon.
Okay, now we are looking at the issue that in 2011 we had 3 million persons who went to the polls. In 2018 we had that same number to say that many persons are not going to register for elections, yet everybody is eyeing 2025. Are we not placing the cart before the horse? We do not really see mobilization for people to register. We don't see clear strategy put in place, like parties telling people how they would solve specific problems that would spur people to say that this person says clearly, this is how I'm going to solve this problem, that will push people for registration.
Yeah, we cannot equally ignore it that some parties have been working heavily for that.
Yes, like the PAP has been doing that.
Jack Dennis, we have seen them several times in the field. We have equally seen the PCRM of Gabriel Libi. They call it 11,000 votants. And again, some other civil society organizations have been engaged into that activity. One of the things we need to know now is the state of the Cameroonian electorate. Are Cameroonians ready and willing to see that there's a new election, that change will be imminent? A lot of the results have given us the impression that the system in place has been hijacked and manned by a single person, which means that we cannot get into a FIFA game where FIFA has its own team and FIFA has its own candidate, and you expect that the linesmen and the referees should give a different results. This is what is happening in Cameroon. You cannot organize elections and then you programmed the match officials of the elections and then expect them to give a fair trial. When you look at the composition of ELECAM, you look at the composition of the Constitutional Council, there is a feeling that somebody is playing for another. When you look at the electoral process, that somewhere the DOs are the head of the electoral commissions in their divisions, and that none of those polling results should be read or sent out without the official accord, only by the Constitutional Council. Electoral laws in Cameroon are problematic. And not away from that, the last visit of the French president, Emmanuel Macron, hopefully you listen to him while he met with government officials somewhere in Yaoundé. He said if Macron was a citizen of this nation and that elections are organized in the atmosphere at which it is in Yaoundé, a Macron wouldn't have been possible in Cameroon. We are not the ones saying it. Even international bodies have said that the electoral system and electoral management bodies in Cameroon have been hijacked and owned by a single political party. So what do you think? And that is why people tell you that somewhere in some social media platform that they are the elephant and that nobody can defeat them. Why can't we defeat you? If you say nobody can defeat you, then simply there is even no need for elections. And so why waste taxpayers billions or put the country into loans and borrowing of huge amount of money to organize something you know will not create any impact? That is what we have. Within the Cameroonian system, I want to tell you that we have made the youths to feel like they will only come in after maybe the 2nd century or the 3rd or the 15th century after this particular regime, because we said youths are the leaders of tomorrow. Ask the youths in Cameroon if really tomorrow has not yet arrived or we are still waiting for that tomorrow, because elections were organized in 1992. 1992 to 2003, ask them, who have they changed? We are talking of the National Assembly president. Has he changed? Or we are talking of the Senate that was inaugurated. Have we changed it? Where elections are organized, the same people have always been called up to execute the same duty and singing the same song.
Yeah, but
it is.
Yeah, but Doctor, that is what prevails today, and the CRM has vowed that they will go in for
good.
Every election.
Now this is the level after that.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we are trying to answer why people are not. There's voters apathy.
Yes.
People are not willing to register.
Yes.
Because the youths are looking at the history of the past.
Yeah.
But now with the coming of MRC party, I don't want to get back Ndifor. We say we are indicting him on a lot of things. I heard him in his first outing saying the SDF is looking for parties that will work with the SDF. We are looking for parties that we can work together. Is the right language of a political leader. We are looking for parties that we can work together, not working with. Remember the last coalition failed. The SDM pulled out because they said they cannot work under another party. I heard those statements very well. If you can't work under another party, then you want parties to work for you. Means there's already a pre-mindset that such coalition will never work if SDF is not the leader of the coalition.
But he just said
several procedures.
Yes.
And so it depends on whosoever has trust on whosoever that you find some will be in that
those who are there.
It's
now,
the same like in the national ESCO of any party, even within the ministerial rank. When you come to the ministerial rank, there are ministers and there are ministers. There are some things that maybe 5-6 ministers will agree.
There's Minister of State and yeah.
So those things happen the same within the where they find themselves. But that is normally what was actually proclaimed there. That said, it is different from any other coalition, which means the work they have been doing at the background before now coming to limelight.
And nothing stops
Another
group because here we have I think 5-6 parties.
Yeah.
Nothing stops other 20.
Yes.
And then later on they may see come together.
It's a possibility.
Yes, Leonard, let us be honest. If that is what Mr. Fah is calling coalition, then I'm not really sure of defeating 2025. My opinion, you cannot be forming a coalition and there is still division within the coalition, which means the results will be no.
I have not seen the division talk about that.
Yes, what I'm saying is, if you are giving room for other coalition to exist away from your coalition, you mean that oppositions are still going to be divided. Don't you get what I'm saying? There is a need for the opposition to form a unique coalition in Cameroon.
It will be difficult, Doctor.
Then the political atmosphere becomes difficult.
It will be maybe.
No, please, we're not getting into that. I'm just saying that it's my opinion. It's my opinion. Yes. Where you know that in a country there is already a coalition for the ruling party, There are people, opposition parties, they already have a coalition with the ruling party. Then now opposition party are going to accept for coalitions, meaning with their own leaders of coalitions. Where are we going in 2025? It is very clear, if elections are going to be organized in October 2025, it is better for that money to be used and sponsor some roads projects. Let's accept that we have decided to allow the system to exist the way it is and stop wasting Cameroonians' time. Let those leaders go and share their ministerial positions like they have been doing. Yes, in 2018, we saw 35 youth leaders call themselves Youth Coalition. We saw 20 political parties went in for coalition with the ruling party.
That's why it failed. And why did it fail? They were working on a broad-based coalition format. And a broad-based coalition format, they understand that the CPDM easily works to crumble broad-based coalition format as easy as that. Like, good morning. Because you have somebody who is like a spy, but he's saying he with you. You have somebody who is like this. Since as the pact has been made in a high-level consensual coming together with the intention of not betraying the cause at any time and keeping confidential information very confidential, it explains why it had been carved the way it is. Now, Cameroon should understand, as I said, if you have even 5 different opposition coalitions, because we have close to 400 political parties, if 5 of them group from wherever they are, it doesn't stop the fact that those other 5 who group together, as we move ahead, can still come together as the heads of the other coalition members. They sit together and then they still choose now who now will be the flag bearer of the 5 other coalitions that are coming together. Mr. No, the truth is that Cameroonians only look at this negatively. That's why I said Ndiwum takes a point and he is targeted as a CRM member. But you here, Mr. Leo, have been advocating for coalition. Why do Cameroonians not give it a benefit of doubt? Why do they think that it must be, first of all, everybody comes together? This process has failed more than 4 times. Even Nijon started a coalition issue several times in the early 90s. And it was almost betrayed and one order or the other. Now that this particular team came up, people are now seeing it like it's because one person wants to be. No, so there's a room for other coalition. Get them as we move ahead. Okay. We get closer. You can still get 5 leaders of coalition who come together and say, okay.
So for what I'm getting from what we are talking about, the coalition, the existing coalition, is that it was a process of highly selective, highly trusted members.
Very clear.
Which means not everybody was invited.
Yeah.
You are working with those you have confidence.
For the time being.
Okay.
You understand? That's why I said that the door has not been closed. That's why if somebody
come and die for them, if you pick up the road to be a politician, play the right politics. Start right to lead right. You don't come and play with people's intelligence. In the 21st century, Cameroonians are more intelligent than those people with you can come and fool with words. If you say you are going in for a coalition, go in for a genuine coalition. In other countries, before coalitions even came out, before elections even came, we never knew who was going to be a leader. It was on the eve that the leader was designed. Or after elections, posts were designed and it was shared as one government after victory. The coalition type I want is coalition for victory before gunning for post. But here we are seeing a scenario where people are already designing posts. Like when my brother Fah talks there, you already discovered that the founding fathers of the coalition are the ones having the weight. And come rain, come shine, they must be the ones at the top. That is not what Cameroonians are expecting to get from now, Fah Elvis. We are saying that there should be a coalition. Let's fight the common enemy that has been sitting on the neck of Cameroonians for 41 years. If they're out of the way, at that time, you people can design all the posts, the GC posts, you do what you can do. But as of now, thinking that because you were the founding fathers of the coalition, God forbid, what if you were the founding father and before the election you were no longer alive? The coalition should collapse because you are no longer alive? No, we are playing with the life of a nation. And the life of a nation happens to be in the hands of the politicians, who are the decision makers. When we are taking any decision today, take a decision that will affect the life of the nation positively tomorrow. Don't only limit it to our ego, our personal interest. That said, I want to tell my brother Ndifor to be calming down. Calm down. If you are doing politics with this kind of high-level emotions, sentiments, I don't see you going very far, Mr. Ndifor. So to think that if I differ with you, it means I'm taking side with another political party, it gives me an impression that you are almost a novice in politics. That is not how politics is done. We must be able to entertain and accept different ideas. Your ideas must not be mine. But at the end, we must be able to synergize, Mr. Liu. We must be able to canalize our energy. You, the politician who need the vote, need to encourage them the more. So at this time, we need a coalition without conditions. Because you people are already putting preconditions, and it is those preconditions that will kill the spirit of that coalition.
Okay, you want to react?
I just react. You know that the man who is wearing the shoes knows where he's pinching. I want to make it clear, we are just blowing grammar here and wasting a lot of energy. Mr. Leo, if you have a vision of my media prime, you have kept Prime Hour top. You cannot tell Fah who has burning issues at High TV. That's a low profile program to join with you, and you expect Fah to be the head. Mr. Leo, this we're talking about humanity here. There are some visions when you carry as a leader. What is that fear? The fear is that you should not jeopardize that particular vision or compromise it in a way that it might not go where it is to that level. This is why I'm being factual here. I want to be honest with you, Mr. Leo. If Ndiwum came up in a coalition, I want to say he had a point, Mr. Leo. We could not come today with Ndiwum and say Ndiwum, who is a doyen, with the expertise he had, not so, and we said no, Fah Elvis should be the head of that coalition when Ndiwum is there. Mr. Leo, that was a grammar. Why so, not? Well, no, excuse me, I'm coming because why? The truth is that in politics, Mr. Leo, I should be able to know that Ndiwum is far that. See, Mr. Leo, let us not remarry in politics.
Putting you leader does not take him out of the coalition.
No, excuse, I'm coming. When a vision is beginning, that's why we always find coalitions that have what they call transitional period. Why do they put transitional period in coalition most of the times? Because it's a delicate period that you must be doubly sure, Mr. Leo, of whosoever is at the head for that short time. Assuming that in that short time is a period where you cannot put the foundation and then anybody can take over from there and move up. These are realities we failed to understand, to undermine. Now look at it. Why has coalition been failing? I'm sure you should have a program for this. Mr. Leo.
The same reason you are.
What am I saying?
In 1992,
why do I say
pulled out because of the same reason?
Why do I say coalition has been failing? Now the reason I'm saying is this, Mr. Leo. You will need another program for us to come and diagnose this, because we need a program on its own where we should not hurry over it. So we should take from one angle to another to find out why is it failing. First, the CPDM standing understands why it fails more than me and you. Because there's a mechanism.
No, you should understand. You're not of the CPDM.
Because there is a mechanism. What is a mechanism? We understand when they are coming with the with the other opposition leaders or parties that come in. We understand there are some that work for the system, and there are some that work for jailing opposition. We are in a complex arena, Mr. Liu. That's why I said that what Canada are supposed to do is to encourage the coalition, which has first started even.
Head Anglican, or you are coming from Paris, or you are from New York. You becoming a pope does not count the number of Christians and the denomination you, the bishop, you are leading.
For church.
Good. Then you say church. It's another community.
For church.
I say it's another community. And what I'm telling you is that it has been working. Which means it is first of all the dedication to serve, like you call the church. The position of the pope is to serve the church. The position of a coalition leader is to serve the nation. We are 20 opposition party, and in this opposition, we need a leader to represent us. This is where we are coming in. We should swallow our personal pride and look within us who will represent us.
But the CRM would say we are coming with the largest number.
But this is what I'm saying.
Yes.
This is why people are decided. The same reason and fought. Please. Yes, Doctor. You said that some time ago, others left the party, left the coalition because of the same reason. And the same reason you want to use to choose your candidate.
It has been chosen, but I say it has to.
Okay, that is
what I on spill make, Doctor.
Please. It is
what on the vision arrived at in the coalition.
You
cannot change it.
SDF worked out from one coalition because he could not agree to be under those who have minor parties.
And they have their right.
And they failed.
They have their right.
Yes, they have right, they failed.
You should not compare them.
Please now, answer me, they failed. Please, they failed.
Am I there?
No, I didn't have the election.
No. It doesn't ask a question of what to me.
Correct.
Did they fail?
As you answer the
I've not seen them fail. If you saw them fail, it's your
won the elections.
Please.
I've not seen them fail. If you saw them fail, it's your problem.
If the same reason those games in the past.
You should ask them.
You say history. If the same reason they withdrew from the coalition failed them, and the same reason you are wanting to be the leader, I am hoping and willing that we should kill the issue of I am older, I have more Christian.
The machinery is on. We are kind of a spew milk.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and esteemed panelists. As a keen observer of the political evolution of this country, I can say without fear of bias that what we see as a so-called coalition is smokescreen. Each political party wants to score the shots and tap from the largest of the CPDM. I tell you, Mr. Liu, a coalition can't work in this country because of deep-rooted mutual hatred. Our opposition is more concerned about which party becomes the leading opposition in the country rather than going close to
opposition parties in Cameroon. I have 4 to 5 steps that the opposition need to take. The first step would be for them to identify the major political parties in Cameroon. The major political parties. Identify those political parties. When I say major, what I'm saying is that you don't want to start having a coalition with parties that are just the leader, his wife, and his family. You want to meet political parties that at least have a base somewhere, that at least have some words or maybe sections or whatever each political party calls that. Now, when you identify these political parties, you come together. The next step is for you to identify your common goal. Because the goal should not just be to remove Bia. Otherwise, if the goal is just to remove Bia, at the end of the day, it will be a catastrophe. So the next goal should be the next step should be to identify the goals. And that goals will be for them to put their shared objective. This could involve an agreement on the policy changes that they want to implement when they take over. An agreement on how to handle certain issues, perhaps the Anglophone policies and all of that. That is the first step. The next step goes into negotiations and discussions. The leaders of all of these political parties or their representatives sit down and have a conversation, a discussion, a negotiation. In this kind of negotiation, each member who is a part of this coalition knows exactly what they stand to benefit in that coalition should the coalition government wins. Each member of that coalition needs to be told, this is the position you will occupy. You occupy the minister of this, you occupy the minister of that. And let me just stop here a little bit to say that the reason why BIA succeeds to get some opposition party on their side is because of the power of negotiation. The CPDM negotiates with them. What do you want? Do you think that Daikolo Daisala would have surrendered those seats in 1992 that he surrendered without Bia actually promising him, telling him that this is what you stand to benefit, this is what you stand to benefit? This is what anybody who initiates a coalition should be thinking of doing. Let those who are the political parties who are joining your coalition know exactly what they stand to benefit. They may not be the leader of the coalition or whatsoever, but at least they have a stake. They should know what they are leading that coalition with. They are coming in with something and they expect to gain something in return. And so therefore you cannot just say, bring in whatever you are bringing, I am the leader, you go out, nothing for you. That is not negotiation. The other step is going to be the building of consensus. Now in this particular level, the opposition parties will need to build.
Okay, we have lost Ndifor. There he was actually outlining the steps that, according to him, should be used to get a credible and genuine. It's going to be a difficult one for Cameroon. How do we look beyond our position, our high horse, and wherever we are coming from, to even win over those who are within the presidential majority, Ndiwum? Even the civil society, because they need to come in. And if the civil society is coming in, there should be some guarantees. They should know where they are going to. Yes.
Yes, you are very right. But it's difficult. It's complicated. You know, if CBDM has been succeeding in Cameroon, it has not been because CBDM is very strong. It is because they have been able to exploit the weaknesses of the opposition. And you will bear with me, without any bias, that opposition in Cameroon fights other opposition parties more than the energy they used to fight the party in power. It is very sad because if you put a football match in the field now that CBDM should play against MRC, I am not sure that the number of red cards that will be in that match will be measured up to the number of red cards that will come out in a match between PT, MRC and SDF. This is an example that is very clear. They fight each other every day. And I don't know whether when opposition shall finally win a war against another opposition party, it shall take beer out of it. Now, you also discover that some of these, when we are talking about these opposition parties, Ndifor has mentioned something about major opposition, which I think it should be taken into consideration if there is a need for the coalition. Because we have politicians in this country, they're the president of the party, they're the secretary general, they're the treasurer, they're the communicator. In fact, their parties are in suitcase. We always see them on television. How can such people even go for a coalition? Who, if they're going for a coalition, of which good would that coalition even serve the nation? So we want to think that such politicians should have conscience and cease from calling themselves politicians. Gradually resign, pick up a voter's card and be ready to vote. Don't call yourself a politician, because these are the kind of politicians who have given the impression that people go into politics in Cameroon because they are hungry, not because they want to save the nation. And in the long run, you see, I know of a person in Douala who resigned from CBDM, later on created his own party, came back to CBDM with a hope that he was going to be compensated. When he was not compensated, he has gone mute till date. Those are the example of the bad seats in the political arena that should be weeded out. And to end, the question we are asking is complicated. One cannot...
Of what is going on here now. The PADEC party in 2018 was among the big 20 that signed in for coalition. And what did you see? Today, they have gained power. Gaining power by foregoing their presidential ambition and joining the presidential majority. The chairman of the PADEC party today is a minister. So others are working on that. That a political party is not really to win Mr. Paul Biya, but to see if Mr. Paul Biya can give them a small place to eat. And so this is exactly what happened. So somewhere, we need to revise the constitution of Cameroon so that we streamline opposition parties. There is no need the Ministry of Territorial Administration should be given creation of new parties. The ones that have existed, what have they done? Let's ask, what has the opposition done so far that creating new ones will add to the value of opposition in Cameroon? A country not up to 25 million has 400 political parties. Presidential election, how many were present? How many went ahead winning positions or an office in the National Assembly? We look at the Senate, you look at the municipal elections, how many of them are present? So what becomes of the others? Those who won few places are now unable to talk to one another, because last election I had 5 parliamentarians, you had nothing. So you want me to talk on your behalf? I'll better stand alone. You are not ready to govern Cameroon. Politics is not where we come to share games. That is why you will see what goes on with most democratic systems. That the Republican wins or the Labour Party wins in the US or in the UK, there is no need for coalition. If your party did not win, you are not there. We are not sharing anything with anybody. When you go to places like Turkey and Greece, where somewhere the opposition, or Lord, we have in Poland, opposition have not, ruling party has not won majority. Yes, coalition comes in. How can Mr. Paul Biya be winning election 74%, 89%? That's what happened. Why not apply it here? But then the environment remains what it is. I said the country Cameroon, change is coming to Cameroon. Those who are not part of it, let's clear them away and take the nation forward.
Okay, Ndifor, with last writer, a coalition can help Cameroonians. First, they have come together, identify good, and create a common project of managing the country among them. Voting cards be done to elected competent candidate to head the project. Professor Maurice Kamto cannot monopolize the coalition. Thanks. Pope Bertrand is writing from Boya. Okay. I'll take this one. Hans Pizzo says, good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. I want to suggest that a coalition is good only when party chairperson are not the flag bearers of the party. They should come and elect a flag bearer out of party leadership's. Molembe Hans is writing from Boya. Okay, good evening to all of you guys in the house. Okay, good evening to you, Molembe Hans. So many persons are writing. I want to read at least 3 of them. Good evening once again, please, Mr. Ndifor, stop talking about the national cake. Why talk of benefits when running a country? It's funny you don't talk as if running a country is a sacrifice. You talk mostly of what you stand to gain. That's just what the CPDM is doing. And how do you expect to have a change when you have same mentality? Gerard is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Gerard. Coalition presupposes that all the political parties belong to the party and vote for the party. It is not easy, but possible. The earlier they come together, the better for Cameroonians. John Ambe is writing from Tico. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and all the members of the studio. SDF and MRC can't work together because of Nietzsche. Okay. Good evening to all of you. It's a shame to hear from an opposition leader to openly say that one of the bases of getting into a coalition is what you stand to benefit and not what the population will win from the presentation of the MRC and SDF representative this evening. It clearly shows that the opposition is not only serious, but they might be worse if they are given power. Good evening, Mr. Okay, some of so after this coalition that has been formed around Professor Maurice Kamto, what next?
Well, what is next is that, as I said, the door is still open, but we already we spoke today. We're getting down to work immediately, because Mr. Lee, what I want to do now is I want to reduce a lot of talking that has been, you know, that talking and talking, like, you know, people have the right to complain that probably we have some parties that spend time fighting others, you know. I think CRM is one of the very few parties that does not have that. We have one target, the C. I keep telling people here, you could be any other opposition, you can abuse us as you like. That's not our coalition. Will fully be on the ground from January. When they resume the voter registry process, they'll get fully into work, and then they move into where they are, and then trying to crisscross to other areas so that we have what we call effective occupation on the ground. And I will tell you, the things we are taking, we don't want to be explained because people are watching, but we are going to take them aback. I was almost diving to that, but thank God that I held my peace because everything has a strategy. Okay. But then the machine is on.
We are going to continue this this same topic, I'm sure, when next you've got permit. And Ndifor, Richard, thank you for accepting to be part of tonight's edition of the program. I don't know whether you will still be there on Wednesday. Okay, it's gone. Thank you for coming.
It's always a pleasure, Mr. Liu.
Okay, and to you, Doctor, thank you for coming.
Yeah, at least we'll say that Cameroonians are waiting 2025. And what I've just said is that we should swallow our pride and put the nation forward. If a political party is created not to win a political office, then for who